Well, so we told you about a UNDP report. It's actually the latest they have, and it's indicating that African countries have made significant strides in advancing human development, gaining ground on primary education, for example, and health. But apparently there's a new generation of inequality that is emerging. It's leaving many people in some dire straits. It's threatening to undermine further progress and making it harder for those already to catch up. Now, details already indicated in this report. We'll go to the next slide also. You get to know that 4 countries, Botswana, Gabon, Mauritius, and South Africa, are now in the Human Development Group, and 12 countries. You find Ghana in there, including Angola, Cape Verde. We also have Equatorial Guinea, Sao Tome, Principe, are in the Medium Human Development Group. But I will ask my guest from the UNDP, what does it mean, Medium Development Group, Human Development Group? Now, between 1990 and 2018, this one will interest you, Ghana's Human Development Index value increased from 0.454 to now we have 0.596. And it's an increase of some 31%, which puts the country in the medium human development category or index. Currently, if you look at the sum of countries, 189, we're placing 142. What does it mean? I'll ask Mr. Kojo Sadagan, who is an economist with the UNDP office right here in Ghana. But look, the great indications are that life expectancy at birth is increasing and used to be some 56 years. And so averagely 56 years, we all should be dying. If you're male, usually it's the highest we have in Ghana. But now 63, we've been given some extra leeway, even though we haven't got into the 7 score as indicated in the Bible. But it's also indicating great progress because Ghana's gross national income per capita also increased by some 120% between 1990 and 2018. Now, if you also go forward, you have great indications about how the current trends continuing. Will also indicate that 9 out of 10 people in extreme poverty, more than 300 million, will be in sub-Saharan Africa in 2030. That is, and also among countries that are off track to achieve the SDGs by 2030, most of them are in Africa, the African sub-region. But look, let's have some great discussions on this. We go more onto more slides, and then we'll also give you some great discussions on how African women and girls continue to face deeply entrenched challenges to their human development progress. And it's also because of the inequality issues about education, access to good health, access to great maternal health treatment, and also the continent having the world's highest incidence of early marriage and adolescent childbirth, with some 36% of women being married before they are 18 years. Okay, now let's get the discussions going. Mr. Kojo Sadagan is an economist with the UN office right here in Accra. And thank you for joining me, Mr. Kojo Sadagan.
You're welcome.
No, great.
Thank you for inviting me.
When you read the preface of this report, it gives you great indications about how well we've done, but you're reading the report comprehensively, and you say, well, we're being patted on the back, but it's just indicating we haven't done well enough.
Certainly, we've done some tremendously, but we still have a lot to do. And you can see that the report was talking about inequalities. And you rightly mentioned some inequalities women face. And the report also pointed it out that even climate change can exacerbate inequality going forward and also bring in some conflicts as we have climate change. What this means is that as climate change impacts negatively on us, people will become more greedy because you now think that, okay, my farmlands are no more working well. Maybe the other part is working and the person has some water close by. And then there will be that greed for us all to want to get into that water area. And then it can create conflict. And the same way, inequalities come in different forms. You also will find in the report that women still do not have access to education as men, especially at the tertiary level. And also women in labor force are lower than men in labor force. I think women in labor force is about 63%, and men 71%. And this tells you that even though women are more than men, they are not more in the labor force. So these are some of the inequalities that the report talks about, and it's worrying if we do not correct these inequalities going ahead.
One of the great things that the report talks about is asking the questions beyond what the normal things are, because the current trends in the world are talking about how artificial intelligence technology are impacting human development, and the indexes that are used to be the benchmarks, and also climate change. And how do we go about it?
So how do we go about this is that AI, or what we call artificial intelligence, is actually coming in, and robots may take some role of humans, and that can also create a lot of tension. But it depends how we use this artificial intelligence. It can also turn around to create opportunities for humans. We can cast our mind back when we had computers, and we were saying that, computers are going to make people unemployed, redundant, because typists do not understand this. But computer age, where we also introduce other technologies like the internet and the rest, has improved our life better, and also has even increased job opportunities for people. So in the same vein, if we use artificial intelligence properly and for the better of human development, we can also ensure that humans are not rendered unemployed or redundant.
One thing I did find in the report was that we're just basically looking at the things that ordinary people would want to make their life better. And it looks like we're making strides in some of those areas, improving on the health of people and creating the access, but the needed investment that we needed to commit as a state, we're just not doing that grossly enough. So that when we benchmark ourselves to so-called categories of nations that we find ourselves the medium level, then we will say, let's say, especially those in Asia, then we'll say that we're doing well somewhat. And that's the problem we have on the continent, including our country.
Yes, of course. That's a challenge we have. We do not have health institutions or facilities evenly distributed per population. For example, if you get to the north, when you want to get to a health center, it's a distance. And how do you even get to that health center? For example, if you are a pregnant woman, the road that they will take you through to get there, it's also a challenge. So as we create health facilities, we must also create an enable environment around the health facility to ensure that people have quick access to those facilities. And that's no wonder where we have about 331 women die per 100,000 births as a result of pregnancy-related issues.
That's bad.
That's bad.
Because even to lose 5 lives, it's bad.
It's bad.
Comparably to 100,000 births.
Yes, that's bad. So there is that need for us to ensure that health facilities are within reach. That is very critical. And also, I think also that we need to also work very much on primary health care and also awareness about health care. And I think that is one area Ghana needs to work on. For example, if we have pregnancy education, which I think that National Health Insurance can also take up those, because that also reduces burden on claims. Because if people know what to do to avoid some malaise or or some illnesses, it also will cut down cost on National Health Insurance payments. So those are some of the petty things we can do in the small fiscal space that we have. We can do certain, like what people call the hanging fruits. We can work on those and reap large benefits. And the same thing is with education. Education, I think that we have progressed very much with education, where we have schools almost in every community. But you can also talk about the quality, where quality also includes the facilities that you have, and the teaching contact hours, the teaching aids, and all that we have. teaching aids can also improve kids' learning very much. We need to improve upon all those as we go forward.
One thing that becomes integral in all this is the quality of the education, which you have just raised.
Yeah.
Because then it enables ordinary populations, even if they're vulnerable, to get to know what sort of health systems, even when they have to access the health, have to make the calls, and related issues of the environment and sanitation. How seriously should we take, beyond just spreading the schools, the quality?
Yeah, how serious we need to take this quality education is, one, it has to do with teacher motivation and teacher quality. That is the first thing we need to look at. Now the teachers that we have, are they up to scratch? We need to get the teachers to really understand. So there should be that constant training. And you know, in human development report, in our human development index, we stress on long-term or long life learning experience. So it's not that when you finish your teacher training, therefore you have done with education. There should be refresher courses for teachers to make sure that they are abreast with modern teaching methods. There is also the need to motivate them, be it that the salary can be low as they will claim. There is the need also to find other ways of motivating teachers, especially those who work within the hinterland. So the second part is, I think I mentioned earlier, is the teaching aids. We need to improve upon our teaching aids. And
when we say the teaching aids, the materials.
The materials. Like, you'll find there was something on the social media, I don't know how far it's true, where a teacher is teaching computer and the kids were holding a stone and he said, move like this.
It is true.
And I said,
it is true.
Okay. So click.
It's a news story, so it is true.
So see that is not going to allow kids to understand what computer is. But the teacher
we can't substitute a mouse for a stone.
For a stone. You can't do that. Okay.
That's your whole point.
Yes. So if we try as much we can and have some innovation, all these things come with innovation, okay? We can innovate and see how best we can have some computers at a very low cost. Now, people have a lot of ideas, a lot of technology, and people can even use existing things that we have to improve upon them, that we need to bring technology and as much as we can, and more importantly, innovation into education, innovation into health, innovation into livelihoods issues, and that will improve our life going forward a lot.
The thing about improving the quality with the creativity in relation to the teaching aids, we're supposed to have been learning for some of the best standards, and the best standards, apart from what the Europeans or the West established, were what the Asians were able to replicate. Southeast Asia, China now. And it looks like we're not learning from those experiences, are we?
I want to say...
Or you don't want to be categorical?
I can be categorical. I want to say that we are learning, but maybe we are not applying appropriately. That's what I will say. Because most of us who are educated have learned either in our country or somewhere else. And in doing so, we try as much as possible to learn from others. And then there is one thing we call South-South cooperation. Then what Rwanda is doing, we want to learn. What Ghana is doing, others want to learn. Each time we have people coming to Ghana to learn what Ghana is doing. And they will learn something and say, oh, we are not doing this right. We think Ghana is doing it better than us. And in the same way, we also go other places to learn. But when we come back, how we apply this is very important. Knowledge is one thing, and application of knowledge is the other. So
even though we want to learn outside, and we're in leadership positions,
yes,
we have problem applying
what we have. So we must learn.
We have a problem as a race.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that. We must know that when we have learned something, you must learn to apply it. Like, I can use myself. When you finish university and economics, you have learned a lot of models. But how to apply those models to suit a situation is very, very important. But if you still go by what the textbook teaches you, that, oh, this model, you can use it and you just run any regression and churn it out, without applying it to what the situation is here, you are in trouble. You will not understand that. Like, like example, somebody will want to run an analysis or a module, and he's talking about how youth see a job, and you are using religion as a variable. But in the other countries, religion can be a variable. But Ghanaians are not interested whether I'm a Muslim, a Christian, or a Buddhist, that I want to get a job. A job is a job. Okay, so if you go and run that regression and using religion as one of the variable,
you're definitely going to get.
You're not going to get it well. Okay, so
your margins.
It's a mute variable.
Your margins are going to throw you away.
You better. But so those are some of the things that when we learn and we are applying, we need to see in what context are we applying these models. In what context are we applying this knowledge? We must be able to do that and do it properly.
Now, we have to make some good calls as a state.